Those who have strong perfectionistic tendencies, these are learned behaviors and beliefs and actions that stem from childhood needs going unmet. If you're the oldest of your siblings, if you have multiple siblings, you are far more prone to perfectionistic tendencies because as each sibling came along, the attention you got from your parents was less and less and less. What did you do to get your core needs of acceptance, belonging, connection, love, and validation met? You started trying to be perfect. You got straight A's. You won first place. You were the captain or all-star on your team. You learned that in order to get the attention that you so desperately craved at a young age, you had to be perfect. That is why you struggle even as an adult. And at this point, we have to recreate a sense of safety in making mistakes, in being less than perfect. Find a sense of falling in love with the process.
Hi, this is Matt Hubble from Linden, Washington, and I play at Raspberry Ridge Golf Course. This is Golf Smarter, number 946.
Strategies for overcoming the push for perfection on the golf course with Paul Salter, and introducing the Golf Song.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Paul.
Hello, Fred. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us today, because this is the kind of stuff that I always like to get deep into, because I'm not going to just focus on mechanics, which I know people love, but there's the difference between swing. Like I played yesterday with these guys, and I'm like, they're just swinging their club. They're not playing golf. And there's such a difference there.
Yeah.
And I think that they're so focused on the mechanics of hitting a golf ball, which they didn't do well, but golf ball. And one of the things that, Dr. Joe Parent has said for years and years and years as being episode number 1 on the show was, I help people get out of their own way. And that's something that you have been working on as well. And that's what I want to start with, on what that actually means.
Absolutely. So the way I like to phrase it is, I help golfers overcome the emotional and mental hazards of their mind to get them out of the proverbial bunkers, keeping them stuck in a state of poor performance. And you and I both know, relatably, and, speaking to other golfers, that the moment we are triggered by an errant shot, making a mistake, misreading a green, it's almost as if an unconscious automatic pattern triggers an emotional cascade of nasty, defeating self-talk, limiting beliefs, defeating stories, and sabotaging behaviors that can send a seemingly great round quickly down the gutter in a matter of milliseconds. And it is my job to work with golfers and the other high performers I work with to help them uncover what I like to call the destructive mindset programs that are keeping them stuck, whether in a play or pattern of mediocrity.
Mental hazards. What a great way to, we have to deal with so many different hazards on the terrain, but there's the one that you carry in your bag, in your back pocket, in your head, right? That we always have to deal with. Well, where do we start with that? You're right. There's so many different triggers on the golf course.
Yeah.
That we need to try to overcome.
And the beautiful thing here is, you mentioned in the beginning, like so many of us are guilty of overly fixating on crafting the perfect swing. And it starts with, you're so familiar with Dr. Joe Parent there, and he really talks about just this level of awareness and feeling into the swing first to allow your subconscious to kind of guide you to what's tight, what's off, what feels a little different. The same approach can be taken to really assessing your mental game as you're starting to bring more awareness as you show up on the course. The moment you hit an errant shot or you find yourself in a difficult, unexpected lie, begin to take an inventory from that 30,000-foot view with a lens of compassionate curiosity. What am I feeling right now? Why is there tightness in my chest? Why is there butterflies in my stomach or heaviness on my shoulders? And we can begin to connect the dots and really observe a pattern of emotion, physical sensation that after the round is over. We don't need analysis during the round, but after the round is over, we can say, okay, I felt incredibly rushed and anxious because the foursome behind me was on my tail the entire time. That anxiety and urgency translated to tightness. I kept slicing my shot off the tee box, and we can start to gain awareness of what anxiety looks and feels like in our body, connect it to how it disrupts our natural flow and fluid swing, and then off the course, we can start incorporating either, some short-term impromptu strategies to control the breath and the emotion, or do a little digger. I'm a little biased. I love hypnosis to get to the root cause of some of these issues so that we can release these big emotional blocks that keep us from playing our best.
Dig into the strategies part.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So, I love myself as an example. I'm the best guinea pig here. So I remember just last week, I'm playing golf with one of my best friends. We haven't seen each other in a couple months. We're catching up, and albeit my golf journey is unique, we may or may not get to it. And then I'm starting fresh after 15 years again, really going all in on golf. But with that said, I noticed right away, literally the foursome was on our tail from the beginning. They're riding us. They're too close for comfort on the tee box. And I had the proverbial tightness in my chest. I felt the tension in my swing, and lo and behold, I was struggling off the tee box. It makes perfect sense. So the best way to begin lowering that emotional volume, to relieving the tension, that I have found is through a variety of different breathwork practices. And one of my favorite that I like to coach on and do personally is called a rapid reset breath. And the way that I implement that, I'm sure everyone has their own variations, is I like to do 2 quick and sharp inhales through the nose, followed by 1 loud audible exhale. So, and I'll do 3 to 5 rounds of that just to lower the emotional volume of my brain and body, which I find allows that tension to kind of dissipate back into the ether, and I can reconnect with the present moment.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's the kind of thing that if you're doing that, you're walking down the course, hopefully you're not in the cart with somebody going, ah. It's like, are you okay, dude? What's going on? I'm just trying to lose the last shot out of my head, right? Yeah. I mean, basically that's what you want to do, is just get away from that. Tiger always talked about just counting to 10, right? Just counting to 10, and then let it go and focus on what's next.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do, especially after a 3-putt.
It is.
Especially.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right?
That's that next shot mentality. What can you do? And there's a variety of strategies, but whatever works for you as an individual needs to be a priority after every shot to redirect your focus to what you have in front of you, because that is the only shot that matters, and the most important shot of the round is the next shot.
It's also the hardest.
Agreed.
The hardest shot in golf is the next one.
Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of people in various capacities, but a lot of golfers, a lot of professional athletes. And one of the things that you listed in the bio that you sent me, and I'm left turn here, but I was just fascinated, professional poker players.
I had a hunch you were going there. Yeah. So
I'm not a poker player, but that's fascinating to me. They get in their own way as well.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a detour that kind of runs parallel and off course with my own coaching career. And then I pursued poker professionally for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
So I started to recognize, despite all of the studying, despite having a coach to help me with the technical aspects of the game, I was my biggest enemy. The more money I played for, the bigger the buy-ins and stakes, the more I found myself in a position of knowing exactly what to do mathematically, logically, but I couldn't pull the trigger. There was a collection of fear, passivity, scarcity around money and self-worth that were making themselves known under the hood, which, regardless of how little or how much you know about poker, let me tell you, that is a fast track to losing a lot of money really quickly. So I hired my first mindset coach at that time, who did wonders in helping me unstuck myself, not only on the poker table, but in various aspects of my life. Because just like in golf, we find on the poker table, like, emotional awareness, management, and regulation is crucial so that you can find the sweet spot, find your flow state, and play, effortlessly with the utmost presence in every decision you make.
Wow. I want to pursue that on a personal level, not the poker part, but the gambling part.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that when we come back right after this. I've talked about this a lot on the podcast that I'm not one to gamble. I know that golf was designed as a gambling game. I mean, flat out, that's what it is. But that's not fun for me. And I think it's probably 99% it's a mental thing. It's just that I'm just like, I freak out, I tense up, I choke. And it's like, because there's $1 on the line. Oh my God. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my upbringing. See, I can't even say it without getting all tongue-tied. But it's something that I think prevents me from playing with a lot more people because they're like, well, he's no fun because he doesn't want to do what golf's all about.
Yeah, you're not alone there. We all carry our own collection of money-related beliefs, fears, and stories. And I'm a prime example. And you're spot on too. Our upbringing, specifically during a time where we're so impressionable and malleable, those first 7 years of our life in particular. And I can tell you, growing up as the oldest of four, the more and more children and siblings that ultimately accumulated, the less and less money there was to go around. You throw in a recession, you throw in a mom who undulates between being a stay-at-home mom, working part-time and full-time. There's only so much money to go around. And when we're so young, we're not consciously aware of the conversations our parents are having around money, particularly, again, those 0 to 7 years. Unconsciously, we're incredibly aware of every word, the tonality, the voice, the body language, every element of the discussion around money. We're just absorbing. And, there's a cool concept out there I can't take credit for. I heard it first from Ed Milet on one of his podcast episodes called Your Emotional Home. And whatever emotions that were most predominant in your house, and if we talk about money, if it was scarcity and lack, those are what you carry with you into adulthood. And your subconscious will deploy a series of sabotaging behaviors and patterns to keep you to fulfill your need to get this fix of whatever emotion is in that foundational emotional home of yours. So for someone like me, I can speak from personal example. I grew up with that scarcity mindset. I struggled. And it's very ironic. I took a pursuit playing poker for as long as I did because my own personal spending, I was tightly wound. I was incredibly cheap. Frugal wasn't even the correct word because I was scared of letting money go. I would happily trade hours and hours and hours for dollars. And I felt like I could never have enough, which opens up another layer. How does my relationship with money impact how worthy or deserving I feel I am of love, of success? And if we have a very tight connection between how much money we make and how much worth, love, or success we earn, that's a really tough, lonely, and dark path to traverse by yourself because we will never feel we have enough money. We'll hit the 6-figure months and we'll still not feel like that's enough to get the love, the success, or the recognition that we deeply crave on the inside, which is really just an unmet childhood need from decades ago.
Well, it's interesting. I've been self-employed since 1986. Before that, I spent over a decade working in radio in San Francisco. And I learned early in my career in radio that nothing lasts. In a heartbeat, a new boss comes in, you're gone, right? So I never knew. It's like, you make some money here, but don't spend it because you may be out of work in a few weeks, right? Type of thing. And then being self-employed, this is kind of crazy. But as long as I've been self-employed, I think there's only been 2 or 3 years in all that time that on January 1st, I knew how much money I was going to make that year. So it was, to me, gambling was waking up in the morning and living our lives as if, not in a scarcity mentality, but living in a way that it was like, this could disappear at any moment. So don't live like how much money you just made this past month or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
You just got to. Now, luckily, it's worked out because I was able to save some money and I'm getting older and I'm going to be able to retire at some point. But I'm having too much fun doing this, so this may not be my retirement. This is my retirement. So anyway, there is that element to it, not just my upbringing, but my professional life.
Absolutely. I love what you said. Like every day is kind of a gamble when you're working for yourself. I can relate incredibly deeply to that. And really, it's just a constant commitment to betting on yourself, to knowing that you are going to find a way to solve that problem, make it work, earn that money to pay the bills. And it's a constant bet on yourself and a constant promise to yourself that you keep every single day of showing up and giving all that you have, which you find, read, and see everywhere. Like entrepreneurs and self-employed individuals tend to possess a depth of grittiness and persistence because, as you said, every day is a gamble. They are not guaranteed a paycheck. And that can really help sharpen some skills that are applicable and transferable to every walk of life.
So true. So let's go into that. Now we're on the golf course and there is money on the line. And I know that front nine, back nine, total, and whatever games they want to play, it's like, just tell me what I owe you at the end of the round. How do I get past my own, I don't want to call it a disability, but how do I get rid of my own blocks to be able to perform at my best without having to worry about the outcome, obviously, and not the outcome on the scorecard, the outcome out of my pocket?
Yeah. So that emotional hazard, that mental hazard, if you will.
Yeah.
So first and foremost,
please.
again, we'll start with awareness. Like awareness in and of itself is curative. It's also, its best friend is action. We know that nothing actually comes to fruition without the action part. So if you notice, for example, and I'm going to speak for you and you're going to correct me at any step of the way, of course, but if you notice anxiety, if you notice tightness and tension in your body, okay, we know that's a pattern whenever money is involved in the golf course. So off the course, away from the course, there's a lot of work we can do to exploring many other elements in your life in which you felt that way to help uncover and unlearn. Like at the end of the day, that anxiety is a learned behavior around a given situation. It's part of the pre-programmed destructive mindset pattern that's running under the surface over and over again. So we need to get to the origin of where you learned this tension, this tightness, this anxiety around money. And we need to go to that source directly and work to unlearn and rather release that emotion altogether. So to give like a more tangible example here, like I use hypnosis as one of my primary modalities with my clients. And hypnosis is not me swinging a pocket watch or getting you to cluck like a chicken, despite what Hollywood and Las Vegas may portray. It is simply a state of deep relaxation with the intention to make positive change. And we're able to use particular emotions or physical sensations, such as anxiety in the chest, as kind of a fast track or a catalyst to take us back in time, adulthood or childhood, to other moments you similarly felt this I can't breathe type of tightness in your chest feeling. And we're able to slowly but surely get back to one of these early, if not the most early moment in your life when you first had, let's just call it as an arbitrary example, not a you example, a panic attack, a tightness of breath where you could not breathe. And we're able, through a 30,000-foot view with curiosity and safety, just examine what was going on, what need was not met, what was missing from your life, what resource, gift, or message can we give that younger version of you to fully rectify the situation so that the learned behavior no longer has a purpose. And the beautiful thing about this type of work, it has a massive ripple effect all the way up until present day. So you begin to feel increasingly more calm, comfortable in these situations. It's almost like you develop an invisible wall of protection. Nothing phases you, which inevitably helps you dial in the mindset and the focus that should have been there all along on your next shot, on your current shot.
We can take another break. I want to pursue the idea of what tools to use when you're in that situation right after this. So let's pursue that. We're out on the golf course. We're feeling the tightness. We're feeling the tension. What tools can I pull out of my bag? Can I pull out of my pocket to help me get past the moment, help me release the tension and not worry about the $2, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the amount is, the $20, $100, whatever the amount is, just, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not why we're here. Let's have fun with it. And that's the key that, for me, is the biggest problem. I'm not having fun because I'm worrying about the money.
Yeah. No, I've got three tools to share. I totally agree with you. So first and foremost, take a walk. Literally, whether it's before the next hole or while your buddy or the person in your group is hitting, go walk 15 yards away from the golf cart. Take space, get away from the immediacy of the next shot, your foursome, the group behind you, the hole that you are playing. And I've found that literal physical distance helps to give you some emotional distance and perspective from the situation. We're able to detach and see that I came here to play golf with my good friends and have fun. I'm being silly. I might use the word stupid if I'm talking about myself. Getting so tightly wound about this. It's a couple dollars here or it's $20, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So that literal physical distance can be a wonderful tool to give you space, which helps to begin turning down the volume of your emotional brain. Number two, I love what you said. Like, how can we get back to the fact that I'm here to have fun and enjoy myself? Finding a way to infuse laughter. There's a reason there's a cliche that goes around for centuries. Laughter is the best medicine. How can you find humor, silliness, or laughter in the situation that you're getting so worked up over a couple of bucks, or that you're letting something as simple and silly as this distract you from the intention at hand, which is to have fun playing a game that you once or hopefully still do love. And strategy number three, again, breath work, finding your breath, connecting to your breath. The reason breath work is so beneficial, and of course there's many, but in this particular moment when stress, tension, and anxiety are high, what's inevitably happen is our mind has wandered to either the past or the future. It's obviously going to rob us of hitting our fluid, smooth golf swing that we want. The breath work literally brings you to the present moment. And in doing so, it turns up the volume of your logical, rational mind, therefore making it easier to see this is a game we love. I'm playing with my friends. It's not a big deal. And it turns down the intensity, the magnitude at which we felt those previous feelings so that we can focus, regroup, and go on to our next shot.
Thank you. Those are excellent. And one of the things that the new golfers and many golfers, I mean, it's not just new golfers, there's this pursuit of, perfection, I guess. It's like, I want to be able to be consistent on the golf course. Well, you know what? When you have two shots that are exactly the same and you hit them right, they may, what are we talking about? What consistency is? And there's nothing, there's no such thing as perfect, not just in golf, but anywhere. There's just no such thing as perfect. There's getting better, and that's important. But this false sense of need to be, come on, we're not on the tour. This is a game. So this pursuit of perfection in our minds, how do we relax that and still enjoy ourselves?
You're spot on. There is definitely a dark side to chasing perfection, to say the least. Consciously we think, oh my goodness, like to be perfect, to hit every single shot in the sweet spot of the club, to send it directly to where we go. And that's the funny thing about golf. Like, we hit that sweet shot, the perfect apex trajectory right where we aim. And we think, oh my goodness, easiest game in the world. It's intoxicating. It's addictive, to say the least. But when it comes to perfection, like, first and foremost, like, logically, it doesn't exist. Like, we have to be able to step back and reframe that situation and truly recognize that. Easier said than done, depending on your relationship with perfection. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't address the emotional aspect of perfection. Those who have strong perfectionistic tendencies, these are learned behaviors and beliefs and actions that stem from childhood needs going unmet. If you're the oldest of your siblings, if you have multiple siblings, you are far more prone to perfectionistic tendencies, because as each sibling came along, the attention you got from your parents was less and less and less. What did you do to get your core needs of acceptance, belonging, connection, love, and validation met? You started trying to be perfect. You got straight A's. You won first place. You were the captain or all-star on your team. You learned that in order to get the attention that you so desperately craved at a young age, you had to be perfect. That is why you struggle even as an adult now. And at this point, we have to recreate a sense of safety in making mistakes, in being less than perfect. Find a sense of falling in love with the process, not the results. How can you reinvigorate and add a sense of play, a sense of curiosity when you're on the putting green, when you're on the range? How can it be playful, joyful, childlike, to rob you of or to remove the pressures of perfectionism so it can go back to being the game you once fell in love with?
And then once you make a mistake, how do you accept that and move on? How do you recover from that?
So two things. One, compassionate curiosity. Why? Why did the ball go left? Why did the ball go right? Just a sense of wonder, that childhood-like curiosity. Two, you're going to be pre-programmed with an emotional response, and a slur of bad words or two after that errant shot goes into the woods. So there, I like to say you have two options. One, you have 10 seconds to feel your feelings before you snap into that next shot mentality. Or two, rather than this huge emotional explosion, it is passionate, radical acceptance. It just happened. You are not someone who can go back in time. It happened. Next shot mentality.
Yeah, get over it.
Yeah, get over it. And I'll add too, like, just like building and maintaining muscle and strength in the gym, you've got to consciously, constantly, and intentionally practice these techniques to flex your mental muscle as well every single time. It gets easier and easier, but I think we can both relate the moments or the periods of time we have lapses in doing those little things. It's like, oh, I don't feel as good, or I'm not playing as well as I typically do because my consistency doing those little mental techniques has been inconsistent. Once you bring back consistency, everything falls into its place.
But then we have to manage our emotions, right? And there's such a wide range of them on a golf course on any given round. What's the path there? How can we manage the emotions to not drag them? We've talked about various ways of this, but I think it continues on managing what you're going through, recognizing, like you said, recognizing what you're going through, but continue to manage them so they don't get in your way.
Yeah. So first and foremost, like, what's the low-hanging fruit for you? Is it anger and frustration? Is that your biggest hazard that derails your performance? Or conversely, a lot of people surprisingly struggle with overconfidence and excitement, where they're so excited to play or they're so confident that they are going to absolutely crush their friends. That too produces tension and tightness in their body. So we want to tackle the low-hanging fruit, but the way to manage and prevent emotional accumulation throughout the round so that it doesn't become counterproductive is, I am a big proponent of routines. Pre-shot, post-shot routine, post-hole routine, micro moments spread throughout your round, where you can regroup, turn down that emotional dial with a couple breaths, a quiet moment, a moment of reflection. And those micro moments that are consistently interspersed help to temper the emotion to keep you even keel, steady Eddie, as you need to be in control rather than having an emotion in the driver's seat of your round.
Yeah. And then quieting all the negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, then we get to the point of when we're putting pressure ourselves, or we're in a pressure situation, competitively. Now it's not just $2 on the line. Now it's the title that you're looking for, playing competitively. And doubt inevitably shows up. But how is it that we can perform with the confidence that we arrived at the first tee to maintain that over the 4 hours, despite the fact that things are going to happen that are out of your control? Once the ball leaves the face of the club, you're done, right? And so we have to find and trust that confidence?
Yes, you use a big important word there, trust. And for me, and I'm sure you and the listeners are sensing a theme here, a lot of the work is done off the course to make life easier or at least your path to playing your best with less friction more consistently. So again, there's a lot of opportunity for off the course work here to mentally prepare. I mean, you had a recent guest who talked a lot about the power of hypnosis, visualization, really see, feel, and experience what it's like in these moments. You know, there's so many different modalities and frameworks that we can utilize in hypnosis to give you that sense of control, to turn down the emotions, to reframe and step into those situations so that when you are putting for the tournament on the 18th hole, it's like you've already been there. However, you know, one of the traits that truly separates the best of the best from the rest is their ability to fall in love with and ruthlessly execute the monotonous basics over and over, regardless of how they feel. So to bring it back to the question at hand here, you know, as the, you know, day 4 of the tournament is going on, we're making the turn to the back 9 here, and the pressure is slowly increasing. Your lead is tightening, or maybe you're a tied atop the leaderboard. You're going to feel so many different temptations and distractions that want to pull you away from your routine. You know, physically speaking, there's going to be a desire to maybe tighten up because the spotlight, the pressure, the burden is now literally weighing down upon us. So it's learning to recognize the temptations and triggers, the self-talk patterns that are all completely unique for each individual based on their experience and upbringing. But recognition and awareness of them allows you to simply acknowledge and let go. You don't have to keep thinking that thought pattern that's entered your mind. You have 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. You can let some of them go. They don't all serve you. So with that said, it's a commitment and an intentionality to the small things, the micro routines throughout your round. That is your best asset to keeping an even mind to play your best.
And this is why I love doing a Golf Smarter podcast versus doing instructional videos, because it's that part of the game that is not emphasized when you're watching videos. They're talking about the mechanics, and that, you know, being able to take that part of the game, which we've been talking about now, of helping yourself be a better golfer and not just focused on, you know, let your body do what it's going to do, and just be a smarter, better golfer that way, and you will improve your game. This has been really fascinating, Paul, and I appreciate you helping us substantiate what we've been talking about all along. How can people find you online, get in touch with you, and have further conversation with you about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram, I hang out quite a bit at Paul Salter Coaching. You can check out my new podcast that details my own personal journey to becoming a scratch golfer, the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast, or check me out on golfmindsetcoaching.com.
And how long have you been playing golf?
So I played religiously from about the ages of 9 to 16 or 17. And then I didn't touch clubs but one time for 15 years. And Here we are at just over that chapter of not touching clubs, getting back into things once and for all.
And how long you've been at it again?
It's been about what's today? It's been almost a month. So we are very new into it. A couple one-on-one lessons under the belt, a couple rounds of 9, another one this weekend.
So why do you have a pursuit to being scratch golfer?
That's a loaded question, but I'll give my best succinct answer. So as I've continued, you know, I have a strong poker background. A lot of my clientele is poker players. As, you know, fate had it, I've started working more and more with golfers. It has really reinvigorated my passion for the game. And something that's been missing in my life the last year or two has been an element of play, an element of competition. I am incredibly competitive. So golf really stokes the flame of competition and play. And I think you'll agree, when we have an abundantly clear goal on the horizon, just the ability for that goal to channel our energy, our focus, to help us stay clear of distractions is a fast track to elevating us into the best version of ourselves. And the fact that golf is a game that demands presence, a mindfulness practice, emotional awareness and management, all facets of life that help you be the best version of yourself. It's a natural marriage and trajectory that, as I continue to prepare for a lofty and ambitious goal in the golf course, I get to grow as an individual to be the best boyfriend, eventually the best father, the best brother, son, friend, whoever it may be. And it's a ride that I am ready for and ready to tackle.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world in your pursuit of perfection. But just to remind you, it's not that easy and it's supposed to be fun. Don't beat yourself up, buddy.
I appreciate the reminder.
Well, we're not completely done yet because we're going to have one more section here. I'm inviting a friend to join us to tell us about a fun little song that he wrote, and we're going to do that in just a moment. Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, John.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So John and I have known each other for a long time. If regular listeners of Golf Smarter will know that I've referred to Neil many times in this show for well over a decade, because he even took a lesson with Tony Manzoni when he and I were down together in the Palm Desert area. And this is Neil's baby brother, John. And I use the term baby lightly, except I've seen him on the golf course. And John, in the last few years, took up golf. Now, you were a religious basketball player. You played every weekend. You were on the basketball court, trying to prove everyone that you were
three times a week.
Yeah, just trying to prove that you were a lot younger than you actually were. And we all know better that, John, you're going to hurt yourself. Dude, play golf. You'll hurt yourself there too.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Months off. So tell me, what is it that got you interested in playing golf?
I think just really more than anything, spending time with my brother and people like you, in a beautiful place, at least when the weather's nice.
And did you play as a kid? I know that Neil played with your dad as a kid, but did you join in, or it was like?
Very little, 4 times a year, maybe. That would be a lot.
Yeah.
And then over the past few years with you and Neil, a little bit more, but never quite enough to take it seriously.
You have another brother.
But not enough to take it seriously. And then in the past year, brother Neil, really got me out there a lot. And I've kind of committed to, okay, I wanted enough of what I was doing before. Now let's commit to it and try and learn how to really play. I think, as you know, I didn't hit a driver till like a year ago, maybe a little.
Yeah, you're hitting iron off the tee all the time.
And even if that goes well, that's not how you're supposed to play. Well, so now I actually love hitting the driver. It's my favorite part of the game.
Oh, wow.
When it goes straight. And
well, it's just part of the game.
Right. So I joined where my brother is, and I'm getting out there 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow. Yeah. And are you enjoying it?
I am.
It's a lot of time to spend with your brother, because I'm the youngest of 3 as well, and my middle brother is also Neil. So we share that. But my brother's a tennis player, and he has no interest in golf.
Also, as I'm getting older, I got to find a way to spend my time. So it's like, okay, let's get into that.
That'll take a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good walk spoiled.
Yes.
Right?
As you say in the song, which we'll hear in a minute. And that's why we're here. So what was your musical journey? How did you get to the point where you're now writing songs as well?
I picked up a ukulele like 7 years ago out of the clear blue, looked on a website how to play beginner ukulele. Started playing Friend of the Devil.
What, a Grateful Dead song?
I know. And from that day forward, I was playing the ukulele every day, an hour a day. And then a couple of years ago, changed to the guitar. And then I actually found writing songs was how I learned best.
Mm.
You know, learning certain things like 1-4-5 kind of basic structure of writing a song. And I like writing. So it was a good mashup
fit.
of things that I like to do. I've written a bunch of songs. I've got a YouTube channel, and I don't know what possessed me to write a song about golf, but
you did.
But I did.
And I want to say thank you for including me in your video. There's photos of me in there and a little bit of video when we were up at Bandon Dunes last year.
Yeah.
So when we went to Bandon Dunes, and I've talked about this trip, I went with John and Neil and Joel, the three brothers, and your nephew, Neil's son. And we each person got to pick somebody to bring. So we had 2 foursomes, and Neil chose me. And so, or did you pick? No. And so we went up to Bandon Dunes and had a phenomenal time. And then you come home, and now you've written a song about golf, and I'm included in it. And thank you for doing that. So tell me what motivated a golf song, which is called Golf Song. Right?
Well, it had other names, but I thought, just cut to the chase, and maybe it'll get more hits.
Well, yeah, it's really clickbait that says Golf Song.
Tee it up again.
Here you go.
Actually, I was going to call it a good walk spoiled, but I figured, that.
I think that's been used.
It's been used.
Couple times. Well, anyway, thank you for writing this song. It was fun. So let's hear it.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Thank you. And let's play soon.
Will do.
Okay.
Here is a golf song by John Polachek.
I crushed my driver off the tee, hit my second shot straight and true. Got a 30-yard chip onto an island green. Well, that's something I can do. But I hit the flagstick, it ricochets, takes a nasty bounce or two. Goes off the back, down the slope, splashing in the loop. Oh. It's a good walk, spoiled boy, that's the truth, amen. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll do it all again. It's a good walk, spoiled Mark Twain said it way back when. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll tee it up again. Staring down a birdie putt, 10 uphill feet away. I get the yips and leave it short, well, it's been that kind of day. It's okay, just save your par, I tell myself and pray. From 3 feet it's looking good, then it rims out, fuck no way. It's a good walk, spoiled, my frustration knows no end. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll do it all again. It's a good walk, spoiled, I think I shot 110. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll tee it up again. Now keep your head still, follow through, let the club do all the work. Slow your swing, turn your hips, stop playing like a jerk. Change your grip, adjust your stance, try this club instead. I've gotta try and silence all the voices in my head. It's been a challenging round today, kinda happy that we're almost done. Just a short par 3 awaits us in the setting summer sun. Well, I hit a perfect 7-iron straight at the cup it runs. Inches away from glory, a gopher steals my hole in one. Bastard. It's a good walk, spoiled beast, sitting alone in my den. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll do it all again. It's a good walk, spoiled, at least I was here with friends. I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll tee it up again. Said I'll meet you here tomorrow, we'll tee it up again. And again. And again. And again.
Beautiful job.
And by the way, if you've composed your own song about golf, I'd love to hear it. Okay, we've passed the registration deadline for our first of many golf adventures together, so it's time to announce the next one. As we hope to do for the foreseeable future, Golf Smarter and TMIGolf.com are joining forces so that twice each year, you and I can check off some of the most interesting and fun golf outings from our bucket lists. And this one is going to be unique as we're hosting a group of golfers and non-golfers for a 9-day adventure to Portugal. This trip includes 3 rounds of golf, walking tours, wine tasting, and a boat trip. I say we because this is a couple's excursion. While we're playing golf, my wife Joanne, who is a non-golfer, will be leading the way with partners and spouses to explore the beauty of Vilamoura, one of the finest beach and marina complexes of the central Algarve. Non-golfers will experience optional spa visits, sightseeing, and shopportunities. If you'd prefer, you can play golf every day. The trip will take place September 5th through the 13th of 2024. That's September 5 through 13, 2024. Now, to get all the information, pricing, and download the detailed PDF, please visit tmigolf.com/golfsmarter. tmigolf.com/golfsmarter. And if you have any questions, please write to me directly. I want to thank this week's Golf Smarter ambassador, Matt Hubble from Linden, Washington, for introducing episode 946. And since we've been playing Tony Manzoni's episodes each Friday for the last couple months, we've had a lot of requests for Tony's video from our latest ambassadors. We've got 4 episodes left with Tony to complete his catalog, and here's what we're going to do. For the month of May 2024, if you request to do an episode intro, you'll receive all 3 of our free gifts instead of choosing just one. That includes a private link to Tony's video, The Lost Fundamental, a glove and glove storage compartment from redroostergolf.com, the best online glove subscription service, and a box of premium Flight Path golf tees, a tee above all. This offer is for U.S. residents only, but if you live outside the U.S., you still get Tony's video for free when you request to become a Golf Smarter ambassador by doing an upcoming episode intro. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for upcoming guests or topics, or need more information and want to discuss our September Portugal adventure, please write to golfsmarterpodcast@gmail.com or click on the Hey Fred button when you visit golfsmarter.com.